But first of all, I'd like to introduce Peter Titley, who's an ambassador for the Marsh Christian Trust. And we go back longer than I'd remembered, actually. It was about 15, 20 years.
I didn't think you'd mention that, Martin.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. In a different role.
Yes. What he doesn't know, by day, before I retired, I was in the Criminal Justice Department of the Home Office, and amongst my responsibilities were the probation service, in part, and prisons. So, how are you getting on? I have to say, this is all completely unrehearsed, and I blame Martin for it. There's a little button I'm supposed to press here, isn't there? You've not got a PowerPoint presentation, you've just got a name. There we go. Well, let me just say, ladies and gentlemen, what a privilege it is to be here. I haven't sat in an AGM, and I've sat in many AGMs, and heard a treasurer make the accounts sound so exciting. Thank you. It sounds so exciting and positive. And full of the kind of enthusiasm that was reflected by your president in her welcoming remarks. And, you know, Kate said a few words, including, for the fourth time, punching above your weight. Well, I know that this organisation certainly does that. But my work as an ambassador for the Marsh Trust, for the Marsh Christian Trust, is built on celebrating success and attainment and dedication and achievement and lovely words like that. And so it's such a pleasure to be acting in that role, because I get to meet not only organisations which punch above their weight, but I get to meet a lot of individuals, and today being no exception, individuals who punch above their weight. If I may, Chairman Martin, say just a few words about the Marsh Trust. The Marsh Christian Trust was founded in 1981 by our current chairman, Brian Marsh. He founded it with a sum of £75,000 of his own money. His original aim was to create a sustainable way of putting something back into society by recognising people who strive and commit and make a difference. And that's the ethos of the Marsh Christian Trust. That is our aim today, to celebrate outstanding contributions by people who are committed to social, cultural, environmental causes. And these people, these individuals and these organisations are at the very heart of the charitable organisations which make such a difference collectively to the world we live in, not only in the UK, but beyond, as we shall be hearing later. Marsh Christian Trust partners with a range of charity organisations. It sounds a bit like name-dropping, but we partner with organisations as diverse as Mind, looking at mental health issues, the Zoological Society of London, the Rare Breed Survival Trust, which I had the privilege of being chairman and treasurer, got it on the brain, and president of for a few years, and that's where I truly first met Martin. And we also very recently were at the British Museum making awards, and of course your good selves. And all of these names are leaders in their own fields. And so if I say I can't begin to tell you what a privilege it is to be here, that would be a lie, because I can and have already started to tell you what a privilege it is to be here. I'm not going to say anything about the administration of the awards, but it is transparent, it is very thorough and painstakingly undertaken by independent panel. And the competition for the two awards we're going to celebrate today was very stiff, and I'm sure you'll endorse that. It was a very high order of nomination. Our activities are entirely funded from the income derived from our investment income. We accept no public money, no governmental support, and we administer through two main schemes, our grant scheme and the one that we're dealing with today, our awards scheme. And so currently we support in the Marsh Christian Trust some 300 charities every year through our grants programme. We have a policy of making relatively modest grants to a large number of organisations. In that way, the seed corn gets spread over a wide area. And we find that that works very satisfactorily for our partners. And we make over 80 different awards to individuals and groups across the charity sector. And it's these awards which tend to celebrate, identify, and shout about the individuals who have made a difference. And that's a very good cue, Martin, for me to turn now to the moment where we make our presentations for this year.
We do, right. Thank you, Peter. Thank you very much. I would echo exactly what Peter says, because I think it's a great privilege for this organisation to be linked with the Marsh Christian Trust. I've met with Brian Marsh several times, and he's a formidably driven man, let's put it that way, and he's been on this mission for some time, and is encouraging me to even think up more types of awards for the future. So I think I've got my work cut out for me. We've got 2 awards today. It was a very difficult decision to get to them. It's so amazing to know that so many people are doing extremely wonderful things out there. But the first one I'd like to give award to is Mark Smart. And he's been managing wetlands for the RSPB for 25 years, 17 of which have been spent as site manager at Burney Marshes. The development work that he's devised, designed and delivered has turned this site into one of the most important lowland wetland grasslands in Europe, supporting over 300 pairs of breeding waders and 100,000 wintering waterfowl, which is pretty amazing, isn't it? This exceptional achievement has resulted from Mark's absolute dedication to conservation, his passion for breeding waders, his deep understanding of wetland management, and the collaborations that he has built with landowners, conservationists, local authorities, and scientists. So I'm delighted that you're receiving this award. There you go.
Thank you. Well, congratulations, Mark. I should just say that in this traditional plain brown envelope is something of value, which actually tangibly puts Marsh Christian's money where its mouth is, in congratulating you, Mark, on such a marvellous achievement. Very well done.
Thank you very much.
You want to say a few words? Yeah.
So basically, thank you, Marsh Christian Trust, for awarding me this. Obviously, this isn't my natural habitat. You have to excuse me. I'm normally up to my knees and eyeballs in mud and marsh water. Obviously, also thank you for the Royal Vow Trust for actually carrying out this. But I think there's also behind what I've been able to do, there's a whole team supporting me and giving me the time to go out and actually engage with local communities, engage with local farmers, and actually giving me the inspiration to do some of the work that we have been doing. So again, whilst I'm accepting this, it's got my name on it, I do accept this on behalf of the whole team I work with, both on the reserve but also the wider team within sort of the Conservation and Science Department and everybody else. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. And every team needs a good leader. So thank you. And the next one is to Colin Gray, who's here with his wife today. And I'd like to just say a few words, but we've got a short film as well here. Fleet Pond Nature Reserve is Hampshire's largest freshwater lake. It is a SSSI, and its margins are large areas of reed beds. A few years ago, the pond began to be affected by silt, washed down from nearby military land. The lake became very shallow, and the water was extremely cloudy. The future of the reserve seemed doomed, as the plant and animals in the pond were dying and the local ecosystem was in serious decay. Colin's dogged determination led him to masterminding the Clearwater campaign to highlight these issues, to find the solutions and the funding to restore the pond. It's again another true massive effort by one individual. So I'd like to show the film first, if my technical assistant, because you wouldn't trust me to do it, and then I'll present the award, Colin.
The only reason Fleet Town is here is because the railway company built a station at Fleet Pond to bring visitors down from London. It is a place where people always come as a sanctuary from busy lives. Okay, I'm Colin Gray. I'm chairman of Fleet Pond Society. I've been involved with the pond now for 32 years, and 19 years ago they made me chairman. and mainly because nobody else wanted the job. So I've been involved now with the pond for 30 years, and it's been virtually my life story. My wife Mavis is very understanding. I couldn't do what I do without her. Fleet Pond does boast having a wide diversity of habitats within a very small area. It is, what, only 57 hectares. And yet we have here a dry heath, a moist heath, marshlands, reed beds, and lots of indigenous woodland. Most of our trees are indigenous British species. And the wetlands are very important here. The whole area is a triple SI. The bird life is something I first got involved with nature as a group leader back in the 70s. So I do love to see the birds that come through here. One thing we welcome here is the starlings. We have a good population of starlings here which roost on our reed beds, and they're a real treat to watch as they murmurate over the pond. This area is my release. Most of my life I was working in an office in front of a computer. I didn't see much of the wildlife that I love. So when I managed to retire back in 1996, I had the opportunity to come out here, actually work with nature, for nature, and really get the pleasure that I get from that. Oh God, favourite birds. I don't have a favourite bird. There are too many birds on here to have a favourite. They'd feel put out if I took a favourite bird, but I do love the herons. I think the herons are great characters, and of course that's why we have the herons, our logo for the Pond Society. And you can always rely on seeing them here. And the patience and perseverance they have in hunting for food is brilliant. I think they have more patience than I ever have. I was actually astonished to receive an email from WWT to say I'd been granted this award. Totally out of the blue, nobody warned me I'd been nominated. I've no idea what they said about me, I'm sure it was all untrue, but nevertheless it's a great honour. Slimbridge I've only been to about 3 or 4 times. It's a wonderful place to go, and I really think the WWT are doing a marvellous job worldwide.
So Colin, if you'd like to come up.
I can just about see you there through the mist. Colin, many congratulations. I'll shout loudly, but that film seems to me to capture a lifetime of dedication. And it makes this award very special and a great privilege to give it to you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And a similar plain brown envelope on that side with some nice contents to you, Colin.
Yeah, Colin, did you want to say a few words?
Very few.
It's up to you.
Well, I have been warned that you need your lunch, so I'm not going to say very much here. And it's all been said anyway, hasn't it? I've admired the work of WWT for years. I was very glad that I persuaded the local authority when we first started looking at the problems of Fleet Pond. They came down and did a full survey for us. That was the start of the programme. They are now involved again with the pond because we've got a huge development right next door, 1,500 houses. And we are looking at how we can mitigate against these 3,000 or 4,000 new people that are going to start walking around our pond, because we already are up to full capacity. Fleet is a growing town already, and the impact on the pond can be seen from the footpaths network alone, not alone the disturbance of the wildlife. So we have problems, but the Wetlands Advisory Service are there again for us. So we're very grateful to welcome them. And they've done so much good worldwide. I can't understand why I'm here. I mean, just a small reserve, 140 acres, of which the Fleet Pond is the biggest lake in Hampshire. It's a small size. So why am I getting involved when WWT should be getting all the awards? Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
It's people like Colin and Mark that really make the difference, and there are so many people, so many dedicated people in this country doing wonderful things for our wildlife conservation.